And I think the one thing this has finally ended is a discussion about whether or not there's climate change and we should do something about it.
Really, that's ended the discussion about it. Okay, Joe. Anyway, here now for reaction to the president's visit in Florida and that comment, but more importantly than all the politics, let's put that aside, is an update on the recovery efforts in his district and beyond. Florida Congressman Greg Steube. Greg, nice to have you back. Glad to see you inside somewhere safe, because I know your district is probably, you and Byron Donalds had it hit the worst, right? His district is just north of yours, and yours just south and inland. And I looked at the map, and that's where everything hit. I mean, city's destroyed.
Yeah, he's just a little bit south of me. I've got
south,
the bulk of where the storm came through.
Okay.
I still have people without power. We have people that have lost their homes. In DeSoto County, you still have, especially in Arcadia, you still have flooding to where they can't get into certain places. Law enforcement can't get in. A couple of days ago, I guess it was Monday now, they were just seeing the roofs of trailers that had been underwater, to give you an idea of the amount of flooding that we've had interior. And so the challenges in the catastrophe is different inland as it is on the shore. On the shore, significant wind damage. In Byron's district, and obviously North Fort Myers, people have seen the devastation at Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel. They had huge storm surge there. Just north of the I in my district, you had huge wind damage, roofs ripped off. I was on the water today with Venice PD surveying some of the damage. But then inland, you had significant flooding on top of high winds. So trees ripped over, but levels of flooding that we have never seen before. The last time we saw like 20 feet in DeSoto County was 1935, and we saw 24 feet.
Whoa.
To give you an idea of the vast amount of flooding. I think those death toll numbers are going to continue to rise because there are places that law enforcement still haven't been able to get into, that are just going to be getting into them and finding things, people that decided not to leave and try to stick it out.
Right. And I have a feeling like in every hurricane like this and tropical storm, you have people swept out to sea. And I know that there is a big, long list of American families out there trying to contact Florida officials for missing persons. I don't know what that number is at of late, maybe you do, but I know it was pretty high where they're still trying to locate folks, and in some cases they may never find them.
We had people calling my congressional office from out of state trying to reach family members that were in my congressional district.
Yeah.
And for the first, I'd say 3 days, I live in eastern Sarasota County. I didn't have cell phone service. We did not have internet. We just got power back yesterday. They hope to have most of Sarasota County up by tomorrow. So there is no way to communicate with people. And that's a real challenge, obviously, when you have loved ones and family members here. I just came from a store where I had to buy an extra chainsaw to do some of the cleanup work here in my neighborhood. And the lady there was in the hospital and said she couldn't reach her kids for several days and didn't know if her children were safe. So that, I would say in the very beginning, was the real challenge, was there was no way to communicate with people, your loved ones, people outside the district, inside the district, get emergency services, all those kind of things. We were resorting to different things that you're not typical comms. They were using ham radios in DeSoto County. They were using ham radios in Hardee County as a way to communicate with people.
Greg, I'm glad to see you out there working with the people and not just providing lip service. There's some video here that your staff sent us ahead of time. I know you've been on the ground helping your constituents clean things up, so God bless you for that. But I want to bring up, more importantly, the letter that you sent to the House. If we can throw that up, folks. Greg, we need more of this. I know you're calling for direct federal funding without any pork, without any BS attached to it. I've never seen one of these bills in Congress ever go through because they always got to attach extra spending. But God bless you for trying. What's the hopes of getting this done?
Yeah, the Democrats can't help themselves but to shove all of their crazy leftist social propaganda into these appropriations packages in the hopes that Republicans like myself want to vote for supplemental assistance to your district and will vote for all the other garbage that they shove in there. But I and the rest of the Florida delegation, well, the Republican delegation, is asking for a clean supplemental appropriations for disaster relief specifically to Hurricane Ian.
Yes.
Nothing more. The people down here are hurting. There are people that are displaced, that need FEMA, that need all the different resources. I mean, there are bridges that have been completely swept away to get to Sanibel. I have a bridge in my district in Hardee County on State Road 64, completely gone.
Right.
So there's infrastructure funding that we need. There's healthcare funding that we need. There's disaster funding. Our ag and producers and farmers lost significant crops and resources there, so there'll be funding through USDA and FSA. So we're asking for a clean reauthorization, and my hopes is when we return to Washington after the midterms, hopefully the election results will be good for Republicans.
You might get your
and we'll
wish.
be able to, yeah, and frankly, if we have to wait till January to get a clean reauthorization, we'll have better numbers by then of the real toll and the damage to be able to do a clean reauthorization when we take the House back.
Good for you. Speaking of bridges, I want to show some, either it's a pic or video. There was a bridge out to not Sanibel, but I think it's Pine Island, that, wow, in just a couple days, look at the left side, folks, and look at the right side of your camera. Now, for anybody on the Democrat side, or I love to poke fun at the mainstream media, who's been criticizing Ron DeSantis and Florida officials for, one, not being prepared, and two, not responding quick enough, I'll just show you this, and then I'll give you the, anyway, salute. How about that? I mean, do you feel this governor was prepared and enough's being done on a state level? Because from what I've seen, it appears so.
Yeah, and we've done this before. Obviously, we've had hurricanes here almost every single year, not as catastrophic as this, but we have a lot of experience through the Department of Emergency Management. And I'll tell you, the tip of the spear is at the county levels. That type of thing, being able to put a bridge in, is the Corps of Engineers, the state, Department of Transportation, and then our local governments. I mean, they're the ones getting the 911 calls. They're the ones that are using the emergency operations centers to determine who goes out, the National Guard, paramedics, law enforcement. That is really what has saved Americans and Floridians, those EOCs at the county level, to be able to disseminate information, a hub of information, and be able to save lives and restore things like that bridge. So it's an all-government approach to be able to do the things that we've been able to do.
As it should be.
Right here in the state of Florida.
From the local to the federal level, it should be a multi-step level and everyone involved to help Americans. At the end of the day, forget your frickin' politics, which brings me to my last comment that I'd like to hear from you. So, one, you have the mainstream media and the left making fun of Ron and his white boots, acting like he didn't do enough to clean up and then stopped cleaning up so he could make an appearance. Well, when the president made an appearance yesterday, I'm sure they had to stop cleaning up and make way for security reasons. No one discussed that. But more than that, I wanted your comment on this hot mic situation. Not quite sure what Joe was trying to say to the Fort Myers mayor, but I'm going to play it and then get your reaction. Go ahead, guys.
I was. No one.
Yeah, goddamn right.
So, not quite sure. We can make out that he said no one F's with a Biden. Not sure what the mayor was talking about before. Is this because of the whole DeSantis, Biden butting heads over immigration and everything else under the sun for the last 19 months? And now he's like, I come down because nobody, was he bragging? What is that about?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows if he even knows who he's talking to?
That's a good point.
Probably because Hunter Biden actually hasn't had anything done to him when he's violated federal law after federal law after federal law. Hunter Biden's committed so many crimes that there's so many different committees within Congress that have jurisdiction over the ability to investigate him when we get the House back. Maybe that's what he's referring to, that they're clearly above the law and nobody else is.
Yeah. Who knows what's going on in the mind of that individual. Greg Steube representing Florida's 17th, a district so hard hit by Ian. Thank you, sir, for being down there, rolling up those sleeves, getting to work, unlike other politicians, as I said at the beginning of this interview, who just provide lip service when a crisis hit. Thank you. Appreciate it, Greg.
Honored to serve. Thank you.
Before we head to break, be sure to check out tomorrow evening